All right, gang, let's get started. Great music, Russ. Thank you for doing that. Always appreciate it. Or I think it's actually Dylan this morning. So, Dylan, thank you. All right, gang, let's get this thing started. What I want you to do is I want you to recognize we're going to cover 6 just concepts this morning. And what I want you to do is we're going through each of these 6. I want you to rank yourself on a scale from 1 to 10 on how good you are at either, focusing on this, I guess not either, both. Focusing on it and then actually taking action on it. Because I think that these 6 things are fundamental to your success this year in business. And I think, some of these things, obviously in life as well. But I want you to be mindful of how good you are at recognizing these things and actually executing on these things and working on them on a daily basis. So let's start the conversation. The first thing that I want you to write down is this. I want you to write down that mindset is a skill set. Now you hear me say that all the time. You hear George say that all the time. And leadership within this company. And the reason we talk about it all the time, because it is foundationally the most important thing that we can focus on. It does not matter what we do with everything else in this world if we don't control our mind, what we put into it, and therefore what we focus on, everything else will be lost, everything is for naught. So I just want you to think about this again, that statement that I made. Mindset is a skill set. What does that imply? See, when I say mindset is a skill set, what that really implies is that it's something that we can improve upon. So my question for you is that you think about this. The average person has 60,000 thoughts every single day. And the vast majority of those thoughts, guys and gals, are negative. And so people wonder why their circumstances are so negative, why they live an average life. And the fact is because they end up focusing on the wrong things. They entertain or they countenance all of these negativities, these negative thoughts that go on in their brain. And none of that happens by chance. None of that is just simply because those things germinate in the brain just by accident. It's because of the information that we take in. See, I like using this metaphor. If I had an orange and I took that orange, right, and we were to squeeze it, what would come out of the orange? And of course, the answer would be orange juice. Well, why is that? Well, because that's what is in an orange. It's orange juice. Now, I know that seems like a simple statement, but my point is this, that when you get squeezed, when life puts pressure on you, what comes out of you? And the only thing that can come out of you is what is inside of you. What is inside of you? So do you have a lot of positive thoughts? Do you really work to protect what's going on in your brain? Or are you just letting random stuff come in that comes in from all the, the social media sources, the media outlets, as well as negative people around your world? Because we know that all of those sources, as a general statement, tend to be what? Very negative. So my question for you is this: are you really standing at guard at those gates of your mind, like a sentinel saying, no, you shall not pass? If you are negative, if you're going to be counterproductive, if you are not consistent in terms of an idea or an energy with the things that I want my world to be about, the life that I want to live. See, I believe this: we get what we focus on. So my question for you is, remember I asked you to rank yourself on a scale from 1 to 10. How good are you at setting a routine every single day that works to protect your mindset? Because guys and gals, from the moment that you get up, your mentality, the way you feel, right, is being assaulted by your subconscious mind and then all of those external forces. So my question is, do you have a plan to counteract all of that negativity that is out there and that is in there? See, how good are you at that? At reading, watching, listening to positive things, to associating, but by design, selecting to select people who are positive, who inspire you, who motivate you, who actually do things in the various realms of success that we define as important. They do those things better than you do or that I do, and selectively choose those people to associate with them, to model ourselves after them, to aspire to be as good as they are or better at the things that they're great at. And then, of course, fundamentally just participating like this in things that are going to build and protect our mindset. How good are you at that? Because here's the thing, like I said in the beginning, you want to achieve that life that you say that you dream of, having more money than you could ever possibly have, not having the stress to worry about, where the next house payment's going to come from, having the money in the bank for retirement, having the IRA, the retirement accounts, having that second home, being able to take your family on vacations. If you want all of those things and just simply that peace of mind, knowing that financially everything is going to be okay, you're going to have to start fundamentally with what you're putting into this computer, because junk in, junk out. See, it's like the operating system on your phone, whether you've got an Android or an iPhone. When it starts to glitch, what we know is that it has a bug. It has an issue with the operating system. Well, the problem is, guys and gals, most people, the average person on this planet, has major glitches with their operating system. And it's why they live an average life. See, none of us is born to be average. People decide to be average based upon what they focus on. So rank yourself on a scale from 1 to 10 on how good you are at really recognizing that mindset is a skill set, and then working every day by intention, by design, to do the important things to control what goes in so you can control what comes out. The second thing that I want you to write down is this: professionals practice. I want to share with you some interesting statistics about this. I've been sharing this idea for a long time, but I decided to look up a couple of things and really get specific on it. An NFL game, those of you who are NFL fans, and I know Lindsay is, and Lindsay, if you're on, maybe you can answer this. How long does an average NFL game last? Anybody have an idea? Don't be shy, give me an answer. How long does an average NFL game last? Okay, Jerry says 60 minutes. Okay, yeah, that may be the regulation time, right? But how long does it last on TV? Yeah, it's about 3 hours. Mike, you spent about 3 hours time watching a football game, okay? But here's what's interesting. They last on average 3 hours and 12 minutes, and there are about 100 commercials played within that 3 hours and 12 minutes. 100 commercials on average, okay? But here's the thing, it's interesting. The Wall Street Journal did a study on this, and others have done it as well. But the ball is only in play for 11 minutes for an entire game. 11 minutes from the time that the ball is snapped to the time that the flag is raised or whatever, right? There's some play called, right? Or infraction called, whatever. At the end of that play, you add all of that up, it's 11 minutes per game played. Now that's interesting. You think about that. So the fact is that those players are on the field, on the gridiron, playing for 11 minutes with the ball in play. Now, it doesn't mean that they're not out there for longer than that. I'm just saying when the game is actually being played, when the ball is in play, it's only 11 minutes. Now, I want you to think about this. What is the average period of time that the players will actually practice and prepare every single day to play those 11 minutes per game? And the average time is between 10 and 12 hours every single day. Every single day. So it goes back to my statement that professionals practice. You think about the ratio, the ratio, 11 minutes to 12 hours. They're practicing 10 to 12 hours every single day that they're working to 11 minutes of ball in play time. So my question for you is this: when you think about it, the average NFL player, their median income is nearly $900,000, which is a lot of money. But you think about how few high school players, junior high, high school, then college, actually get to the NFL. Think about that. And that $900,000 is the median. That means that half of the NFL players are below that number and the other half are above that. And you think about what the top agents in our business can make. You think about that. It is amazing to me that we have an opportunity in this business to not only make more than the average NFL player, but our chances of doing that are dramatically greater, because the truth is there are thousands and thousands of agents who make hundreds of thousands of dollars annually across this country. And yet that's not the case with the NFL. The opportunity within this business is amazing. But the fact is, we have to recognize that as professionals, we have to practice. So my question for you is this, and remember, I want you to rank yourself, because you are a professional. You get paid to do this. Some just get paid more. How good are you at practicing every single day your craft? See, do you spend the time that's necessary to really focus on your presentation, on your ability to communicate with other people? Whether it's the listing presentation, the buyer broker presentation, overcoming objections, or having the price reduction conversation, or negotiating, all of those things. See, do you have time set aside on a daily basis to improve that skill or those skills, but specifically the skill of communication? See, that's what professionals do. I think about Yo-Yo Ma. He said that he has practiced, he's the famous cellist, right? He said that he has practiced over 10,000 hours, so many more hours than he's actually performed. You know, think about Michael Phelps, the guy who's won over 20 gold medals, more than most countries. And the guy will spend 8 to 9 hours every single day practicing and working out and doing the things necessary to build the body that's capable of doing what he did. See, what I know is that in this profession of real estate, we are so far off the mark as it relates to our expectations of what we're going to make versus the amount of time that we actually practice. Point number 3, write this one down. I need to have the business maturity to respect the relationships. I need to have the business maturity to respect the relationships. I want to ask you this question. Are you doing what's necessary to get better at developing your relationships with your database, with your sphere of influence? See, I believe that the dream business in real estate is where 100% of your business, and you're doing high-level business, you're a top producer, doing 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 100, 200, 300 transactions a year, and 100% of that business comes from your sphere of influence. See, the secret of top agents is this: they do this better than most. They do it better than others in this business. They do it better than the average agent. They have the business maturity to respect the relationships. Well, what am I talking about? I'm talking about just simply having a system and a plan that every day you execute on to work with your sphere of influence. Do you have one? Let me just share with you this story. I was having a conversation with an agent. It was the beginning of last year. And we were talking about having a systematic approach, like McDonald's. The reason McDonald's sells billions of hamburgers and the reason that they're the most well-known burger purveyor, even though it's not the best burger in the business, is because they have a system and they follow it religiously. So if you want to do a higher level of business, and we know that whether you're a low producing agent or a top producing agent, the vast majority of your business is going to come from your sphere of influence, doesn't it make sense that you would have a system to work with them that creates predictability and duplication? And what I find fascinating, gang, is that so many agents, the majority of them, that especially as they come into this organization in the beginning, as they come into Everest, the vast majority of them don't have a system as it relates to working with their sphere of influence. Baffles me, blows my mind. Now, to tell you, when I was an agent for years, I didn't either. But the moment that I realized and figured it out and started executing on it, it was amazing what happened. Where 87% of my business came from my sphere of influence, making hundreds of thousands of dollars off of that sphere of influence. And I quantified it one time. Get this, I quantified it. The amount of hours that I worked with my sphere of influence to make hundreds of thousands of dollars averaged 15 hours a week. That is not an understatement. It was 15 hours a week. The rest of my time was spent working on generating business from the other sources. So my question for you again is, how good are you at respecting the relationships and systematically reaching out to them? See, it is our job to do that. So let me finish that story. I was talking to this agent and we were talking about putting together a system of making certain that you reach out to people consistently by telephone, that you reach out to them consistently through snail mail, US Postal Service, that you reach out to them consistently through email, and that you reach out consistently to them through social media. And they said to me, that is such an important point, because I do at least consistently send out something through the mail. And we were talking about what you actually send to them, what you need to send to them to build the relationship. I said, it has to offer value. So for those of you who may send out things or communicate with people, here's the question. See, when I talk about respecting the relationship and building it, I'm talking about a business relationship. This is a business relationship where you have to offer value to them. See, it's not a friendship. Some of these people may be your friends, but we're talking about doing business with them. The reason that we're talking about maintaining contact with them within the context of business is because we want to generate business from the relationship by serving them. So the question is there contact being made where value is being offered? And that was the context of this conversation. And this agent said, it is crazy that we're talking about this. Let me share with you the story. I sent out my annual Christmas card or postcard. And it's a recipe. And the recipe's for my famous pumpkin bread, I think is what it was. This is what the agent said. And after I send it out, I'll give it a couple of weeks and then I'll make a follow-up call, which is great. It's a couple of things that should be happening. You mail out something and then you make a follow-up call. Perfect. But the agent went on to explain that as they made a follow-up call with one particular prospect, with a person within the sphere of influence, a person that they had actually sold a home to, the home that they were living in, she asked the person, did you get the postcard? And the person said, no, I didn't get the postcard. I was looking forward to it because you send it to me every year. The person knew this. This homeowner knew this. And the agent said, well, I'll just send it to you again. And the homeowner said, that's great. But if you would, could you just let me give you my new address? That's probably why I didn't get it. So here's the point, guys and gals. This agent was sending out a recipe card for pumpkin bread every Christmas, as well as making a follow-up call. And people were receiving it and appreciating it for the fact that it was a recipe for pumpkin bread. In fact, this particular client wanted it so badly that she gave her address, her new address, to get it. Well, you get the point. The point is that the agent was doing everything right with the exception of providing something of value. See, we have to respect the relationships, having the business maturity to do the right thing, to not only make the calls, to send out the material, to make the contact, but to offer value. So what's the value? The value, of course, would be answering the number one question that people have when they find out you're a real estate agent, which is, how is the market doing? Providing an analysis, kind of a digestion of how the market is. Average homes on the market, average days on the market, the average price of a home that's selling in the market, the interest rate. In other words, just the key performance indicators of how is the market doing. See, if you will answer that question through the communications of snail mail, email, phone call, and social media consistently, you're demonstrating that you have the business maturity, like McDonald's having a system where you follow it consistently that allows you over time to ramp up a business that is so much easier than banging your head against the cold call wall. Now, I'm not here to tell you that I don't want you to cold call, or I don't want you to call FSBO's expired, just listed, just sold, because I do, because our sphere of influence only provides so much business. We got to bridge that gap. But man, do you have the business maturity to respect the relationships? Meaning, do you have a system in place that allows you to consistently and productively to offer value to your database. Exceptionally important. That is the key defining difference between agents who are average to those who are top producers. The system of consistently maintaining and building those relationships. Point number 4, we've only got 2 more to go. The business of real estate is fundamentally about people and not about homes. I want you to write that down. The business of real estate is fundamentally about people and not about homes. So here's the question that I have for you. How good are you? How focused are you on getting better at dealing with people? I just want you to think about this statement. Real estate fundamentally at a high level where you're doing it the right way, where you're making hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars a year, in terms of a mindset, in terms of quote unquote process, right? What you do, it's about people, not about process. I want you to think about that. Just pause for a second and listen to what I'm saying, because I'm handing you a bucket of gold. Real estate is about people, not process. I want you to think about that. Agents who are really good at process, right? They're really good at filling out documents and forms, and they're great at being compliant. They understand technology. They're really great at all of the advancements in technology. They got it all figured out. They got their processes in place. They get ready to get ready. Man, they are ready. Then you have the agents who are really good with people, but they're horrible at process. Which ones make more money? And at the end of the day, it's always the people, it's always the agents who are best with people. See, this business is fundamentally about people and not about real estate. It's not about process. It's not. So my question for you is, are you focused on a daily basis in terms of your intentions, in terms of your approach to this business? Are you doing what it takes to get better at working with people? And I'm not here to tell you you shouldn't have process, you shouldn't have systems. You should. They're important, especially if you're going to have a high level of business sustained over a long period of time. But man, you will never have a great business if you're not great with people. And you can have a great business not having great processes or systems. Because I know a lot of agents who don't have great systems, but they're great with people, and they make hundreds of thousands of dollars. We all know this. So just in terms of what it takes to get better at really dealing with people, right? Are you focused on improving your listing presentation? How good is it? Your buyer broker presentation, prospecting, negotiating, working through the process of negotiating, right? How focused are you on a daily basis at getting better at working with people? Most real estate agents will focus on process. Top producers focus on people. So my question is, are you ready to start earning more money? Are you ready to become a top producer? Or if you are a top producer, becoming even more of a top producer? The key, of course, is going to be focusing on our skill of communicating with people. So are you reading the right books? Are you watching the right things, focusing on the right things? Let me just give you a couple of suggestions in terms of books you could read that will help you improve your communication with people. One of the best books that I think that an agent can read would be Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. He was, I believe, a former hostage negotiator, I think with the FBI. Great book on communicating and negotiating. And I think that that's one of our greatest skills as agents and working with people is our ability to negotiate, not only with our clients, but also with the other agents and the buyer or the seller on the other side of the transaction. And then the second book that I would recommend would be Tell to Win by Peter Guber. Those two books, two of the most important books that I think that real estate sales professionals can read to get better at the skill of communicating with people. Remember, guys and gals, the highest paid people on the planet are those people who are best at communicating, at facilitating communication. Remember that. You want to make more money in real estate? Get better at working with people. Secondarily, process. Number 5, lead generation versus follow-up. Lead generation versus follow-up. Here's an interesting statistic. 75% of the opportunity for you in your marketplace is going to be available to you only through follow-up. If you think about all the opportunity that's in your marketplace, let's say this is not an accurate number, but let's just say in your marketplace, there were 1,000 opportunities during the course of the year to either list a home or help a buyer buy a home. 1,000 opportunities. But the fact of the matter is that only 25% or 250 of those opportunities are available to you if you only make that first lead generation call. Try to find those opportunities. When you fail to make the follow-up calls, the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh call, you eliminate 75% of your opportunity. So if you want your opportunities to expand, if you want your market really to expand, you've got to make certain that you are doing what? You're following up. So my question for you is, how good are you at following up? The vast majority of agents that I talk to, and historically as I begin to start to coach with them, are horrible at it. They're horrible at it. Because most real estate agents are reluctant to prospect in the first place, and prospecting and follow-up just means more prospecting. Why would I follow up when it just means that I got to prospect more? It just compounds it, right? Well, look, guys and gals, the gold in this business is going to be found in follow-up. 75% of all of your opportunity will be found in follow-up. I remember asking one of our top producing agents within Everest, Dave Stocco, several years ago. Great agent, would typically do 50 transactions a year, focused on FSBOs, primarily expireds. Very skilled agent. And I asked him this question. I said, how many times do you have to call a for sale by owner before they will agree to meet with you and then sign a contract? He said it takes between 5 and 7 times. And this guy was exceptional, had great skills. He was very disciplined, and yet 5 to 7 times. So guys and gals, remember this. There's a difference between lead generation and follow-up. See, prospecting is finding a lead. Follow-up is nurturing the lead, maturing the lead so that it converts from a lead to a client. Remember, 75% of your opportunity is going to be found in follow-up. How good are you at follow-up? Rank yourself. And then the last item, number 6, before I give that one to you, the second book is Tell to Win by Peter Guber, because somebody asked that question. I think it was April, asked that question in the chat. Okay, and then the final thing is this, guys and gals. We get what we focus on. We get what we focus on. I want you to write this word down, intentions. Intentions. Do you set your intentions on a daily basis? Your intentions as it relates to business and what you're going to accomplish. Your intentions as it relates to your relationship or relationships. And your intentions as it relates to your health. See, do you consciously control what you're focusing on? Here's the truth. Every single person focuses on things, but the vast majority of people don't do it consciously. It happens subconsciously. And that is why most people live dismal, average lives. I don't mean to be negative, but it's true. 78% of people who work do not like their jobs. 78% of people, when they're polled, say, I don't like my job. It's about focus, right? They're just going through life through this rote repetition. It's just what they know, as opposed to breaking out of it. Do you set your daily intentions in business, relationships, and health? For example, in business, asking this question, who am I going to help today? Right? Who am I going to help today? Setting that intention. Setting the intention, you're going to help one person today. If you can just go find one person you're going to help, offer them true value, right? Find somebody who really needs your help, who wants to buy or sell real estate. Just setting the intention of one person a day. Do you do that? How about with your relationships? How am I going to improve my relationship today? Ask that question. How am I going to improve my relationship today? Identifying that one thing that you could do today, that baby step, that one small thing that you could do to improve your most important relationship. And then how about this with your health? What am I going to do today that is healthy, that's going to help me to be healthier? What am I going to do today? See, all of these questions that I think we should be asking ourselves in any of these categories is about focus and about setting intentions. Look, guys and gals, to sum all of this up, All of this is about taking key important components, ideas from a subconscious level to a conscious level. The reason people who are successful at life in all that they do, as a general statement, I know that's a broad generalization, but those who are successful, whether it's in their business or their relationships or with their health, it's because they consciously focus on the right thing. And then they execute on those things more consistently than the average person. See, it's not written anywhere that you can't live your best life in the business, with your relationships, or with your health. We just have to recognize that there are rules. There are things that we have to do consistently, that we have to focus on, and set our intentions every day to work towards those things. You're capable of doing whatever you want to do and having that life. I know you are. Just simply do not ignore those rules. Okay, gang, glad to have you here. Great start on the week. Congratulations on being here. Go out there and be those exceptional leaders that you are. Let's finish this morning off with some great closing